And this morning, President Biden is preparing to give his last official speech as president.
Yeah, so joining us now live via Zoom is Dr. Lee Hanna, a political science expert from Wright State University, to break down what we can expect to hear. And Dr. Hanna, thank you so much for joining us. But I kind of want to start with a broader question. So how has presidents in the past used this address?
Sure, yeah. So this goes all the way back to Washington, and he was famously warning about political parties. So it is something that, people talk about, that farewell address. Andrew Jackson was the next president to do it. So about 6 presidents didn't feel the need to do one. And then it did not really become a mainstream expectation of our president until Harry Truman. And the presidents have used it. Every president since Truman, with the exception of George H.W. Bush, has given a farewell address. So President Trump presumably will give 2. And they tend to summarize their legacies, try to provide some wisdom, some perspective. Obviously, they're trying to summarize their legacies in the most optimistic of terms. Bush one time was asked about his legacy, and he said, "Who cares? I'll be dead by then." So there is some sense of, to really understand and evaluate a presidency, it does take more time than their 4 or 8 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. And at least kind of touched on it, but in a letter previewing his address, he never mentioned President-elect Trump by name, but he made many references as to why he ran for president. Would you say that was intentional?
Absolutely. Yes. I think he still believes that Trump is unqualified for this office, as he stated many times on the campaign trail. And so I think that there is some real reservation and some real fear about what this administration will do. Some of that is just ideological, just differences in kind of how liberals and conservatives view the world and view public policy. But some of that does go beyond that. And, at one point, he often talked of Trump as more of an existential threat to democracy. So I'll be curious to see how explicit he is about those warnings, or if he backs off. He has been pretty quiet during this transition, even invited the president-elect to the White House. So we'll see if in these next few days he really lets loose, or if he's going to wait till he's out of the Oval Office, or if he's just going to retire and not be someone we hear from as much. If you think back to George Bush, he was a pretty quiet ex-president, and Obama took a couple of years to really get back into the fray as well. So this might be his last chance to have a large audience to say what he wants to say about Trump.
All right, Dr. Lee Hanna from Wright State University, thank you so much for breaking this down this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you both. Have a great day.
You too.